today. Would like to start this day just by saying I'm truly sorry. I am really sorry. I have let so many people down. I have lost so much love from people. But I have failed. I have failed to all of them. I have failed to the front office of the San Diego Padres, Peter Seiler, AJ Preller. I have failed to every fan of this city. I have failed to my country. I have failed my family, parents. I'm really sorry for my mistakes. I have seen how my dreams have turned into my worst nightmares. A couple days, a couple months. But there's no other one to blame than myself. I haven't made the right decisions on this past few weeks, month, even started at the beginning of the year. I have made a mistake, and I regret every single step that I have taken in these days. But there's a long way going forward. It's a very long way going forward. And I'm gonna remember how this feels. And I'm gonna make myself never be in this position ever again. I know I had a lot of love. That I have to gain back. I have a lot of work to do. It's gonna be a very long process to gain everybody's trust again, to gain that love back that I have stabbed straight to the heart, to every fan, to every baseball fan. I'm learning, I'm maturing. I've been dealing with a lot, but still, there has been no excuse for every mistake that I have made in the last few days. But like I mentioned, I'm gonna make sure that I'm never back in this position again, and I'm gonna do everything in my power, everything in my strength, everything that I can do in the field, out of the field. Better teammate. The distraction that I have been is just something unacceptable, something I have no excuse, and something that it needs to be redeemed right now, in the moment. I know there's been a lot of talk out there. But it's with actions. It's with action that I'm gonna start beginning doing. And then this action is gonna speak for myself in the future. So there's gonna be a whole new story out there. And there's gonna be changes out there. And it starts today.
Major?
You know, when we got news of the discipline for Fernando on that Friday, it was a shocking development for our organization, and I think in large part because Fernando's been a part of our organization since he's 17 years old. He's handled a lot of situations as a young man in a really positive fashion. You know, and obviously, you know, over the course of the last few months, you know, he's had some challenges. You know, I think over the last week, there's been hard conversations, some tough love, He's had the opportunity to sit down with Peter, with other members of the organization, with his teammates here today. We've talked about, relationships. Any relationship worth having, there's going to be some great moments. There's going to be some challenging moments. I've talked to Fernando a lot about mistakes. We all make mistakes. I've made plenty of mistakes here as the general manager of this team, as I'm sure Padre fans will let me know from time to time. But the key is, how you learn from those mistakes, how you grow from those mistakes, what you do, going forward. I think for Fernando this past week, you see the remorse. He understands that, from a maturity standpoint, he's got some steps to take. He's got to go and rebuild the trust and rebuild some of those relationships he has with some people in the organization. But honestly, this is about moving forward, from this day for the organization. And it's both words and actions that we're going to go down that road with. But feel confident that he'll learn from this situation and go out and do the things on the field that Padre fans have come to expect from him. And most importantly, as both a player and as a person, do what we know he's capable of. What Fernando knows he's capable of, and our organization knows he's capable of.
And take questions. We're going to start with Annie.
Fernando, the day the suspension came down, you were photographed at the San Diego airport. Before the team knew about the suspension. Can you take us through that day and why you left the San Diego without notifying the team?
I freaked out. I know it was going to be a hard moment. I know it was going to be tough. It's something that I know it was going to just pinch me, or it was something that was going to be attached for me forever. So I feel like I needed to be back home with my family and be here with my family. But looking it back again, there'd probably be a better step that I could have taken during the action.
Can you share anything about the conversations you had with Peter Seidler or the team, and do you feel that trust can be rebuilt?
A lot of tough love, but at the same time, I feel like it was a great communication. Fair words were out there, and but at the end of the day, they give me the chance, and then they have opened me the doors again to regain that trust and to start moving forward.
Fernando, do you stand by the ringworm story? And if so, what was the timeline? When did you have ringworm, and when did you have the test that was positive?
Let me clarify on the ringworm story. I've been dealing with skin infection on the course of the years. During that period of time that I got tested, I got this medication that it was not from my medical staff back over here in the Padres. And then soon later, I tested positive, and then it was more like it. But at the end of the day, there's no excuses. There's no excuses. I need to do a way better job on what is going inside my body, and there's no excuse in these actions.
When did you test positive? Was that spring training or during the season, or what month?
Late July.
What do you want to say to the fans? Some of who are still here wearing your jersey, and others who maybe have kids that aren't sure they can look up to you anymore. What do you want to say to those guys out there?
That I understand. I understand how they feel. I was a fan. I grew up watching this game. If my favorite player would have done something like I've done, I would have felt the same way. I would have felt, disappointed. I would have felt let down. And I truly understand how they feel. But one thing is that I'm gonna make for sure is like when I come back, I gain their trust again, and I regain that pure love that they gave me all the way from the beginning.
Fernando, when did you start taking this substance?
Which substance?
The one that you tested positive.
During the time, June.
June?
Yeah.
Where did you get it? Was it an over-the-counter in the Dominican or
Back home.
back home?
Back home.
True ball phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True phone.
Did it say the cholesterol? Did it say that on the label?
I'm not sure about that.
With all the resources you have, why didn't you reach out to someone on the Padres to make sure this is something you could take?
It was a stupid mistake. It was me being reckless. It was me not going to the people I know they can help me. And I'm regretting all of that. But at the end of the day, like I mentioned, there's no excuses. And there's no other one to blame other than me.
How receptive were your teammates when you spoke to them, and how do you expect to move forward with them going forward?
They were disappointed. Everybody's disappointed. I'm disappointed on myself. But I feel like we have a strong talk. We share stuff that is tough love. But I feel like we put everything on the table that it needed to be out there, and it's gonna start slowly, one step at a time, to regain their trust again.
Fernando, a lot of fans don't believe you. They don't believe that this was a mistake, that it was something more malicious, especially what we've seen with people saying things before and testing positive. What would you say to those fans who don't believe your story?
That I'm gonna give them a story to believe in me again.
So again, this was for a skin thing rather than trying to get the wrist to...
The cream that I wear, yeah.
It was for
Fernando,
rash rather than the wrist.
¿qué tan importante es para ti hoy regresar y acercarte con la organización, con tus compañeros y con todos los directivos?
Es un paso muy grande, es un paso muy importante, ya que estos días han sido terribles, han sido días que ni siquiera he podido dormir, pensando en cómo darle la cara a mi compañero, pensando en cómo darle la cara a cada uno de ustedes, a cada uno de mis fanáticos allá afuera. Y de verdad que ha sido el momento más difícil de mi vida, el momento más difícil, como todo se ha afectado por culpa mía. Pero simplemente aquí estamos enfrentando, dando la cara de lo que hemos hecho y tratando de dar unos mejores pasos mirando hacia el futuro.
So real quick for our English media, I'm going to go ahead and translate the question, which was how big of a step is this for you to be down here and face the organization, your teammates, to which Fernando answered, this is a big step. This is, the most terrible time of my life. I've had trouble sleeping. So for me to come down here and show face, this was an important step for me, to meet with the organization, to meet with my teammates, to move forward.
Fernando, how long before the test did you stop taking the cream, or were you still taking it?
At the time I was taking the cream.
Was the test here, or on the road, or did they have you go somewhere to doctors?
I think I was on the road.
When did you know you tested positive? Because you appealed it, right? So how long have you known that you tested positive?
Since late July.
Okay.
Why did you drop your appeal?
It was not just myself. There was a team out there giving me advice. In the beginning, we felt like we have a very strong case moving forward. I really don't know how the appeal process works. Obviously, I got people advising me, and then the date was coming short, and they advised me that there was no likely that we were going to be able to win, and so we decided to start serving the suspension right away.
When you say team, you're talking about your agency, right?
There was a team out there, but at the end of the day, everything is on me. Everything is on me. It was my choices, and at the end of the day, it's my career.
What is logistically the next step for you from here? What do you do the rest of this season to kind of stay ready, and where do you go from here logistically?
I feel like we have health-wise compromises that we're gonna check boxes. Moving forward, looks like I'm gonna have surgery on my shoulder, and I feel like I'm gonna be spending a good time here in San Diego during the off season, where I'm gonna spend most of the time, and I feel like we have a really good plan moving forward.
What made you decide to have? What changed your mind on the shoulder surgery?
I was feeling a little bit coming back. I wasn't my best version out there. A couple games I got in double A. I was thinking and not diving head first, not doing this certain type of movement. And I feel like when I come back and start everything all over, I need to be 100% so I can do what I know what to do.
And what was the main message that you wanted to say in the clubhouse? And coming off of that, what was your sense for like how you would be welcomed back by your teammates?
Just let them know how truly sorry I am. They have seen the mistake that I have caused. I've seen all the distraction that I have caused to my teammate. Not being there since day one, it all has dragged back together. It has snowball on me. And I just let them know and show my face, telling them that it was going to change. And that I'm going to take better steps moving forward. And I was going to make sure that all of this never happens again.
Por la mayor parte, ¿cuál ha sido la respuesta de tus compañeros que te han ellos compartido aquí respecto a lo que tú les has dicho?
Fíjate, mucho no. Todos me han apoyado. Todos saben, al final del día somos humanos, cometemos errores. Cada quien a su grado, cada quien a su nivel. Lo que ellos querían era la verdad y que le diera la cara. Y simplemente ahora trabajar como un conjunto. A ver, yo mismo le dije, ayúdenme, no me dejen solo. Y yo pienso que cada uno de ellos tiene a mi espalda ahora mismo.
So the question was, what was the response from your teammates? To which Fernando replied, a lot of support. These guys got my back, and I wanted to make sure that I came down here and showed my face, and be honest with them, and ask them for help. Ask them that they look after me, keep me in line. But it was a lot of support, and a lot of love, tough love.
Fernando, you mentioned multiple mistakes at the beginning of the year. How would you have handled the motorcycle situation differently now?
In the first case, I wouldn't have gotten the motorcycle. I feel that's just the truth about it. And, at the end of the day, you do regrets of all of this. You see all the damage that you have caused. I've seen how many people I've dragged with my mistakes. And now I'm willing to change all of that and just to not drag them down again to that same road.
Fernando, you had a massive guaranteed contract and have missed a lot of games on the field. You're going to miss games all the way into next season. What are your thoughts about that piece of it, the amount of enormous investment the franchise put in you, but you really struggled to stay on the field?
I have struggled this year. I had made mistakes, and I'm learning from it. I'm going to learn, and I'm going to make them change. I feel like we have a long way to go, but still that's not an excuse. So I'm going to make sure we go from now on, it's going to be a total different story.
You and the organization both made a big deal about calling this a statue contract. Is the statue, in your mind right now, sitting here, is that still potentially in your future, or does that seem unattainable at this point?
Still in my future. Still think that I can regain everybody's trust and love down the road. It's not going to take a couple of days. It's going to be a very long time. I'm looking forward to that challenge. At the end of the day, I'm still 23. That's not another excuse, but I'm saying I got a long time in front of me.
And a couple of your teammates had some pretty pointed comments the day it was announced that you were suspended. What were your thoughts when you heard those comments from a couple of those guys?
I truly understand. There was a lot of emotion going on. It was something that surprised everybody. Everybody was shocked. I was telling way worse stuff myself in the mirror, and I took it in, and they were honest. we're honest. That's the truth. And now it's up to me how can I get back and show, get better at it.
Si pudieras hablar con toda la afición, ¿qué les dirías ahorita? ¿Qué es lo que quisieran que escucharan ellos de Fernando Tatis?
Que de verdad que lo siento. Yo sé que eso no es suficiente. Que es un error que va a andar conmigo tachado por mucho tiempo. Pero que al final del día, o sea, ojalá yo pueda ganarme su perdón con el tiempo, con mis actos, caminando hacia adelante, hacia el futuro, y que ese amor genuino que ellos me han entregado, poder devolvérselo para atrás en una manera más bonita y una manera que ellos se merecen.
Yeah, so the question was, what would you say to the fans out there? And Fernando's response was, truthfully, that I'm sorry. And that hopefully with time, I'll gain their forgiveness, regain their trust, and regain their affection. Obviously, this has been a terrible situation for myself, and we all make mistakes. Not that that's an excuse, but, over time, hopefully I can regain their affection.
We have time for a few more questions, okay?
What about what would you say to fans who wonder now, that doubt whether you're still the kind of player you showed before? In other words, the stuff you've done in the past might have been artificially enhanced.
I will tell all the words that everything I have done in the past, I got nothing to do with it. But at the same time, I've given them those reasons to think that way. But it's up to me now to start looking to the future. And like I mentioned before, start making those changes and give them even a better act, a better show that I promise I'm going to do when I come back.
How mentally strong are you to deal with what's ahead? Whether you've gone from the face of baseball, imagine losing endorsements, you go in Petco Park and your signage has been taken down. Just to get your reputation back, how mentally tough are you to handle this?
I feel like I'm ready. I'm ready. Something is going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. There's going to be a lot of cheering when we go to different stadiums. But it's a challenge. I'm looking forward to it. But at the same time, I'm going to demonstrate them that, I'm human, I make a mistake, but that when I come back, it's going to be even better.
Are you prepared for the fact that this could follow you the rest of your career?
Yes.
Fernando, when do you plan to have the surgery, and when do you think you will be back?
I feel like we haven't discussed right yet with the medical staff. There's a certain point, but it's gonna feel like it's gonna be ASAP, and I'm gonna be ready as soon as they let me out next year.
I'll take one more question, okay?
Are you going to stay around the team these next until then, or out for the surgery? Are you going to be around the teammates and guys here?
Yeah, I'll be around. I'll be here.